यत्रैव उपशमं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदेशभु कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञप्त्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सीकराजस्मात् आनन्दशम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ॐ वेदोदधिं समुन्मथ्य ज्ञानरत्नं समुद्रितं येन तस्मै वसिष्ठाय गुरवे नमः। वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। शब्द ब्रह्म की जय। सरस्वती महारानी की जय। जोग वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। हरि ओम। You see, every Sunday we talk in English, and English knowing people must understand they are not deprived of the whole week talks. You see, whatever we talk in the week, I give the essence of it in Sunday. Almost little may miss, but almost all the essence I give you in Sunday. So today we shall see the story of, for Hindi knowing people, this will be recap, revision, repetition. You see, while talking about the oneness between the world and the absolute truth, where there is no difference at all, to show this, Vasistha was giving different examples and logics, analytical study of the creation and the how it appears to be and really it is not there. All these points we have been discussing since long, and wherever we go in Vedanta, the top philosophy, where they talk of the absolute only, no world is possible. Only oneness. Oneness between the world and the truth. World we see by names and forms which are ever changing, and the unchanging truth has no name and no form. It is always beyond everything. Because all these are seen names and forms and changing All these are seen in a relative world. Where there is two, there is relativity, comparison, relationship between the two. Naturally, this is the nature, and this nature is seen wherever there is two. When there is no two, there is only one. All these are not seen. Neither name, nor, nor uh, form. How does this form appear? क्या होता है हर रोज ऐसे ही है धंधा. Sound. When there is one, there cannot be any comparison. It cannot have any form. One will be, it has to be all pervading. That means limitless, unlimited. When it gets limited by some imagination or by some way, if the unlimited is limited, then that limited form is called form, being. And that has to be limited by demarcation lines. Let it be any form, any geometrical form, but it should be limited with boundaries, limiting lines. Then only it will have relation with the unlimited, and this is how the relativity starts. And really speaking, there cannot be any limitations in unlimited, ever present one. So, all these are appearance, or say imagination, or we say it to be dream, a long dream, some imaginations only. And that imagination also, how it can be, who will imagine? The one was in the beginning, so that one will have to imagine. If it can imagine, then it can create also. So there is no question of imagination. We say it is all imagination or dream only in relative world. But in the absolute, such questions are not raised at all. Who is raising the question? No question, no answers. Everything is beyond, everything is silent. The absolute silence, absolute equilibrium. So there is no such questions. But all these questions arise only when we are in such a relative world, where there is names and forms. So everything, the nature is to change and to have difference between every two, and one starts becoming many by limitations. In this way, all the natural laws we have seen, but all these are totally absent in the Absolute. So, how it is possible that this world is seen before us so solid? They say, of course, we have repeatedly discussed it many times. Again, we have to see. They say it is not at all there, but it appears to be there just as the snake is seen instead of the rope. But there is a very serious question. Serious question. Very seldom we discuss it. Who is imagining the snake instead of rope? Who is that? Is it rope? Rope is the reality. Snake is not the reality. So, the serious most question, who is seeing a snake? Can the rope see this snake? No, it cannot. So how this snake comes over the rope? Who is that? Who is imagining rope? Snake instead of rope? Pardon? Mind. Where is the mind? Whose mind? Where is the mind? How is the mind? Where from it is? How it is originated? Where? Why? What is the purpose? So all these are unanswered questions. So from the ground level we cannot say anything in reality, but everything, because all these are visible to us, we are something in we are something or other. We are not we are. Because our identity is known by name and form. So when we discuss the qualities or the definition of names and forms, then they disappear. They disappear. Name is no name. Name is only some sound. Sound is only some vibration. Vibration is nothing but imbalanced state. And imbalanced state is seen in balanced state only. So there cannot be any imbalanced state, imbalanced state, because there cannot be any disturbance in the absolute balanced state. No possibility. So, all these serious questions, it is thought over by the great seers, great research students of our great rishis and scientists. They have seen it. All these are just like passing clouds in the sky, or just like the blueness of the sky, or just like the liquidity of water, or emptiness of the sky, all these qualities are not at all there, but yet it appears to be. The best example we can say, the water in mirage, but there also the same question arises. Who is imagining water in the mirage? Who is that? Who says there is water? The mirage itself cannot say. So, where from all these questions come? So, when we discuss all these, so we find these questions are called ignorance. When there is no clarity, there is doubts. Doubts are questions. What is it? How it is? Where it is? When it is? What for it is? Where from it is? All these questions come and doubts are there. But where are the doubts? Basically, there is no answer to it. Only the silence reigns over everywhere, which is beyond really, which is beyond time, space, and conditions. The truth is totally unconditional. So, all these questions are not so important. How is the world? Where is the world? So, if we come to this point, because they are all the questions are baseless. So, when we come to this point, then the question arises. Of course, you can say when you are comfortable, when you are suffering, can you say all this? Suffering is there in this world. It is said and it is seen practically. The world is nothing but a house of miseries. Everywhere we face only problems and difficulties. Life is a question mark. Life is a suffering. Life is a puzzle. Life is a problem. For a single second we cannot remain without any problem. Last night I was dreaming. Of course, dreams, everybody dreams. But when I got up from the dream, I am looking all around in my bed. The beautiful big size photo, Sita, Lakshmana, Bharat, Satyajna, Hanuman and Ramji. All are there. And they are quite big size photo. Many times I have seen it, and yesterday it was so clear, last night. I saw everything. I got up, but I didn't switch on the light. there was a dim light of the lamp, Akhand Deep, and in that I got up and I am looking around and saw the the persons, Ram, Lakshmana, Sita, all these persons, they are so clear. They are nothing but the the skeletons. Just as they make idols, they make first of all they will put some stand, some stick, and around the stick they will put uh, some dry hay or some useless cloth or some papers they will uh, tie up and make a shape which they are going to show it clearly. The sculptures and around them they will go on tying threads and they make some, first of all, some ideas. How will be Ramji and how will be Sita sitting on a singhasan, and Lakshmana will be sitting down, Bharat, Satrugna, they are behind, and Hanuman will be sitting under the feet of Lord Rama. In this way, they will first make up some you see what we say, the frames, and then they go on putting either uh, either clay or something, whatever, out of which they are going to make the idols. Then they give the final touch after long. Slowly they will go on giving the shape. So last night I saw the skeletons only, the frames only. I tried my best to see the form. No. For 2-3 minutes I was struggling to see the reality. And that came only when I switch on the light. From that haphazard, say, dim light, I was seeing the reality behind the picture, which is not visible. Clear, for 2-3 minutes I was struggling to see the forms. No, those frames were standing there. So this is how it is called. Of course, I was imagining. This is called imagination or ignorance or some misunderstanding, we can say. It is not. It was not so, but I saw something. Just as I was telling, see that boy who was sleeping inside the room. He saw the three uh, suits, black suits. Yesterday they washed it, and both the friends, they were hanging it there on the uh, that wall. And when he got up, all of a sudden he saw the three persons are standing there. He could not believe that it was only suits, black suits, because it was forgotten in the mind. So when we come to this mind. Mind imagines, and all these are imaginations. These are not the reality. Dream and all these names and forms, limited forms, they are only imaginations. Okay, who imagines? Mind imagines, not the reality. Reality has no business to imagine all these. Why he should imagine? Purpose and how? Is there anything called mind in the absolute? But we imagine the cosmic mind. All these are simple, baseless thoughts. So this imagination is a, this belongs to the mind. Mind itself is something which has got no particular any identity or any definition for it. Mind can take any form. Anything is in mind. The whole world is in mind. Anything you talk, all the sounds, whatever comes out of your mouth, first it is made in the mind. And mind is nothing but, when we analyze it seriously, truly, honestly, we see mind which is a flow of thoughts only. Thoughts are nothing but vibrations, a particular type of vibrations. Vibrations we see in the air, in the water, in the other liquid objects, we see vibrations. So these vibrations are nothing but imbalanced state. And this we can accept. The balance may appear to be imbalanced somehow. How somehow? So we come to our lens and transparent, say, uh, plastic or glass, or you see, what do you call it? अरे वो इसको क्या कहते हैं? Crystal, crystal. All these pure and transparent objects, they are cause for all the puzzles. See the light also, the sun or the moon or the stars, the fire. They, because of their glow, they never seen by ordinary eyes as steady objects or balanced objects. Everywhere all these objects are seen as imbalanced. That means unsteady. Unsteady. See the fire. Fire, hardly we can see the steady flame in airless place of a lamp or else always it will be wavering. See the water, water also always is wavering. Hardly one can see the steady water surface. And of course, water, fire, and air. You see, I shall tell you the secret. All these objects, because they are always every air, fire, and water, they look to be every. That's how they are the source of life. Life means movement. Life means movement, actions and reactions, cause and effect. Drashta, the seer, seen and seeing process. This is called life. Life cannot be identified without any movements. So, movements is known as life, and movement, whether it is seen or in potential state, in dormant state, just as in the seed, the life is there, but it is not seen with movement. It is stagnant. But there is potency to move. So, so from this we can imagine all these very objects which are the source for life, they, their basic state is waveless. Waveless wind is real wind, and every wind is, we name it differently. Cool breeze, or smell, or it is hot, or something, we name it. When wind is completely steady, it is nothing but sky only. Similarly, the fire also. Hardly we see fire in a steady position which holds the unsteadiness within it. Similarly, the water, those waves are their nature, nature of the water. In this way, when we go to the absolute, because it is absolutely transparent, perfect, luminous, that's how that absolute light of lights, self-effulgent effulgence, is always seen by itself unsteadily. Seen by itself, we have to understand it. There is none else other than him. There is no second one. So we cannot say it is faulty eyes or wrong vision. We cannot say it. So just as the lens is reflected in the lens itself by other lenses or other part of the lens, lens is reflected in the lens by the lens when the lens is big enough, or say round, or it is there is hollow in it. Anything. That means the light is reflected in light itself. It has to. It is seen in lens house or it is seen in water. The big waves are reflected in water itself. In the mirror, round mirror, the mirror is reflected in the mirror itself. So also the glass piece or the crystal, it is reflected within itself because of its transparency, because of its perfection, or we can say it is purity, or we can say it is self-effulgent. So the effulgence is seen by the effulgence because it is knowledge also. Knowledge means awareness of itself. So it is aware of all these imbalance, so-called imbalance state within itself. There is no second one. So in this way, when we analyze these things, the situation impartially, then only we see, you see, all the names and forms, they cannot stand out of the truth. They are just the reflection of the truth in itself. And because it is repeated again and again for innumerable times every moment, that's how the time, space and situations, conditions are imagined by itself because it is absolute awareness, so it can imagine. Its imbalanced state is known as imagination. Its imbalanced state, its effulgence is known as mirage, or all these five elements, basic elements, sky, air, fire, water and earth. And because it is repeatedly, again and again, repeatedly repeated continuously for a long time, that's how it appears to be solid truth. We have seen just as the water itself becomes foam, foam, and foam when dries up, it gets a solid form. So see, when we keep water for a long time in some glass bottle, there will we see some dirt, some mud, little mud will be settling down. That means water has impurity in it. That impurity is nothing but its own state of being. Because water is more solid than the fire and air and sky, so we can see the dirt in the water. Of course, we see the dirt in the fire also, the smoke in the fire, and that's how the air also. we see coolness or heat in air, that is also some qualities of the air, thick, thin air, moving air, steady air, all these qualities we attribute to the wind because of its changes. And changes are repeatedly changed. That's how we imagine all these qualities. And of course, it is very hard to say and to imagine when the sky repeats itself. It is very difficult to understand how can sky repeat itself again and again. It is possible. Just as two molecules get together, that is called repetition. So also, the two atoms also can get together and take a bigger form. In this way, atom also is a combination, a formation, Gaya. In this way, when we go on imagining and analyzing the subtle most aspect of our question and answers, we come to understand, you see, so-called world, it cannot stand by itself. It has got no region. It cannot answer all our doubts. So it cannot exist. Now got the point final. So in this way, if at all it appears to be, so this appearance is somehow it is taken as misunderstanding or ignorance. So on this point, Lord Rama put the question. How is the misunderstanding? How is this ignorance, which we call Maya or confusion or illusion or superimposition, all these words, they are so complicated, they have no real meaning, anything. We just take some meaning for some time. All these words have no meaning at all. And truly speaking, sincerely speaking, all your words have no meaning. Why? Because words have only meaning when they have relation with any form, or else words are meaningless. So forms are also imaginary because it is limitation of the unlimited one. So unlimited cannot be limited. It can be only imagined as if it is limited. It has become limited. So it has become something. It is not so. Just as our Pappu becomes Ram in Ram Lila drama. So also something has become something. Something has become something. This is called becoming, and that becoming is known as being. So we classify these beings into more moving beings, that is living beings, and less moving beings. I can say in these words, More quickly moving beings are called living beings, and less moving beings are called non-living beings, because their movements are not seen by more living beings. Such words can give you some ideas only. So, coming to the point on Ram's question, how it appears, what is the form of this misunderstanding, how it appears to be, where it appears, whose misunderstanding, all these questions are very subtle questions which are not clearly discussed yet. So he questions to Lord Vasistha, how is that misunderstanding, your ignorance, how it occurs, what is its form, what is its appearance, how it is, please explain me thoroughly, my dear, my revered Guruji. I am unable to understand it. To that answer, Vasistha starts telling a story to answer that question. You see, when the complicated questions are answered, you have to go on giving many proofs, many logical statements, analytical statements, and then you have to give some examples to make it clear. Without examples, no subject is cleared. So examples are always required. Examples clarify the ideas of the subject. So examples are sometimes given in the form of stories, and sometimes similes are given as some objects. Sometimes it is stories, and stories are more explanatory, and it gives you clarifies you the ideas. And all these stories you must keep in mind always. Stories are stories, they are not realities. Stories are stories. First of all, the words have got no meaning. Words are only sound, only vibrations, only it will have some relative meaning only when the words are, the sound is mixed up together with some form, with some meaning. Meaning is understood when it has got some relationship, some contact with some form. Then only the sound, the word will have some meaning and it will have some value. Or else the sound is sound. You see, there is some thunder sound. What does it mean? For human beings, ordinary human beings, There is no meaning of birds sound or the sound, murmuring sound of the dry leaves or the sweet sound of wavery down going river, and there is some sound also, say when the vehicles run in the street or roads, they make some sound. It has got no particular meaning, but purpose is there, no value, no meaning. In this way, the cry of a child or roaring of a lion, what meaning it has? So all these sounds, they are meaningless, and we give meaning. Human beings, they give meaning to their language, words used in the language for some time. When they have some contact with some object with form, then only it will have meaning. For some time, relative meaning. And that meaning will change when the time, space, and conditions are changed. So, in this way, the whole world is a continuous changing process. Everywhere, everything changes. The words also change, meaning also change, the value also change, everything changes. So this changing phenomena is, that's how it creates the doubts, and these doubts are called ignorance or misunderstanding, which creates all these problems and miseries. This misunderstanding, this non-understanding, doubts, non-clarity, and all these haphazard relativity which are not clear, they are cause for our problems, which is known as misunderstanding or ignorance or opposite of real knowledge, whatever you say it. Misunderstanding, confusion, illusion, superimposition, or you see, uh, or doubts, whatever you call it. We have different words for it. All these doubts are, if it is named as ignorance, then ignorance is the cause for all our miseries for life, whole life, starting from the childhood till the end of life, we have doubts. And every moment there is some chance. We try also, everybody tries to get the clarity, and that is called learning something. So this world is known as a school where we learn every moment something or other, starting from the birth till the death. Every moment we collect some new knowledge. Knowledge is nothing but the contact of our thought waves with the outside objects with names and getting some information, relative information, timingly information, and that gives us partial relief from the miseries, partial, momentary relief work. So whole life we do relief work. Thoroughly relief work. It will continue for years.
Swamiji, how does knowledge give relief?
Huh?
How does the knowledge give relief?
Yes. On the opposite, when ignorance gives you troubles and problems, miseries, uneasiness, so the opposite, knowledge gives you relief. How? Same examples we can go on the other way. You see, in the darkness, when you imagine a snake is there on the way, you are bewildered, you are troubled, and that is caused by your ignorance. You could not see the rope, you imagined or superimposed the snake on the rope. That's how you got the trouble. And when there is light, light means clarity. That is called knowledge. When you got the knowledge of the snake, which was no snake but it was the rope, then you got rid of the troubles and miseries. So knowledge, which is nothing but clarity, which is nothing but steadiness, which is nothing but light, gives you relief from the ignorance, from the miseries. You have no problem now. Understood now? Similarly, everywhere, we run from object to have some pleasure out of it. By our senses, we we collect information, we have contact of our senses with the outer objects, sense objects, only to get some pleasure. That is the only purpose. And instead of pleasure, of course we get, it is momentary, it is conditional, it is always changeable. That's how we are always, we have to face problems. And we run from object to object. Whole life we have a desire to get pleasure. All the desires are based on getting pleasure. Pleasure of sense, five senses. And that we never get because of changes, because of momentary contact, because we have contact with the names and forms, but not with the existence, not with the reality. That is what is known as ignorance. We don't see the reality. We have contact with the unreality. That's how whatever pleasure we get, just as we see the light of a lamp which is covered up by the glass covering. it is protected from wind by the glass covering. But we don't see the real light. We see something which is obstructed by different objects. So, whatever objects we have contact in our life, in every day to day life, those contacts are with the forms or with the names, which is known as sense objects. But every object has five aspects. The outer aspects are name and forms, and inner aspects hidden by names and forms are existence, knowledge, and bliss. These three aspects of every object is covered up by the ever-changing phenomena of the form and the name of the object. So whatever contact we get, it is only with the name and form, outer coating, which causes all these misunderstandings and changing knowledge. Because they change it themselves. So name changes, object changes, form changes. If we take out the names and forms, changing phenomena from every object, then all the objects basically they are one and the same. It is only existence absolute, knowledge absolute, and bliss absolute, which pervades everywhere in all conditions, which is untouched by our so-called senses, because senses are changing process. Senses are activated when the mind gives a push, a momentum to them. Then only they activate. And senses means a process, a changing or a process of action. Action means process. And of course, those process they are caused by other process. That is the formula of energy. Energy changes every moment from one aspect to the other aspect, from one name to the other. The same, it is a changing process. The same energy is named as differently in different conditions, different working system, different aspects, it is named differently. The energy is energy, which is named as light, sound, electricity, magnet, so many things, so many things. Different names, but energy is the same. Energy means a changing process. And same energy is known as prana. Same energy is known as hearing, etc. All these. So, when we see all these, finally we come to the point, whatever is changing, it is called ignorance, problem or questions, doubts or puzzles or imaginations or superimpositions or call it as you like, and all these because of only a process, a changing process. And that is basic principle of this creation. You can create when there is a process. Creation is a process. That's how it is never ending. It is unlimited, eternal. It cannot end. That's how it is called. The creation is nothing but play of energy or magic of energy, we can say. Play of energy. Energy is momentum or movement. So when the movement is stopped, then the clarity is there. Now, all these movements are called energy, or we can say, which is cause for all our misunderstanding, and we call it Maya, ignorance, and doubts, etc. So, not only Ram, since a time immemorial, many such students have put the same question to their gurus. How is the form of this ignorance? Where from it comes? Why? How? Where is it? What is its characteristics? This question is an eternal question. And when we analyze all these together from all round vision, if you see at a glance, then only you can take it for granted from all round vision. Whole total changing process is called Maya, or cause for all our misunderstanding and all our miseries. And when it stops, means changes end, means everything comes to a silent position. Everything merges in absolute silence, which is otherwise absolute equilibrium. That is the only solution, or else till then all the problems will continue. This is how we can take it for granted. And this changing process is the form of, or the name of your misunderstanding, your maya, your ignorance. Unless and until it stops, there is no solution. And this is how our Raja Yoga Patanjali says, technically, he just gives you the word Chitta Vritti Nirodh. Stop your mental function. That's all. And to stop that, all these processes he has given us technical process which will enable you to stop the mind technically. That technique is called yoga. Karma Sukha Musalam. Technique. So, from all these discussions, we see Maya is such, it creates all the troubles, and it solves also all the problems. How? The mind is your enemy, mind is your friend. How? If you can stop your mind, that becomes yourself and it becomes your friend, means closeness, oneness with it, nearness with it. And when you allow the mind to run anywhere and everywhere, then that same mind is your enemy which creates all the troubles. So in this way we can understand the definition of Maya, which is asked by Rama to Lord Vasistha, Guru or Vasistha. Vasistha started telling a story from which the question will be answered, clarified. What is the story? Story is just a long, flowery language and with so many examples and beautiful language he has used. So there was a king somewhere in some world, and his name was Vipaschit. Vipaschit word meaning is a highly learned man, highly educated, learned man. He was a king and he was ruling over the kingdom up to, extended up to all, all oceans are all over four sides, east, west, north, south, till the oceans. The land was ruled by the king Vipaschit. Vipaschit was a very popular, very beloved king by all the subjects, and he was ruling over the kingdom nicely, effectively, and he was liked by all the subjects, and he divided the kingdom to four parts according to the sides, four directions, and four kings were, were given charges. They are deputed to rule over those parts of the kingdom. So it was going on very well. The king became old and getting a chance somewhere, some loopholes from all around world, from everywhere. All those great enemies, they got together and they attacked the kingdom from all sides. And the sub-kings, what we call it, the छोटा राजा को क्या कहेंगे, subordinates we can say, what we call it, huh?
Not minister, you mean?
Magistrate, huh?
Minister, not
no ministers, but uh, they are subordinate to the main king, small kings, commanders, we can say governors, governors, we can say governing kings. So three of the governing kings from three sides were killed by the enemies, and the fourth one also was defeated, and the enemies surrounded the kingdom from all sides, and there was no opposition, so they slowly covered up, and they came around the capital city. And of course, the king was getting some informations by the CIDs, and he was just preparing for opposing them. By the time all these enemies they surrounded the capital, and there was very terrific fight was going all round. So by the time the king gets ready, of course he ordered his subordinates, his commanders, his ministers to to defend the uh, enemies. They were doing it, and by the time the king gets ready, it took some time. He was old enough, so he took time to get ready. And by the time he gets bath and gets ready, he worships his God, his personal God, deity. He was a devotee of Lord Fire, fire God, because everything we get by fire only. We cook our food by fire. We get heat from fire. We get rains by fire only. We have discussed on fire how fire is taken as the source for yajna, sacrifice. Sacrifice fire. Fire is a medium for the sacrifice. It is capable of making the gross object into subtle and subtle objects into gross. So, the gross animals or the beings, the living beings, they require subtle objects also, gross objects also. So there should be exchanging process. The subtle things should be exchanged with gross things, and gross things should be exchanged by the subtle things. In this way, the fire god was the mediocre. He is the source of exchange. So in this way, fire god has important role in our life. So the king was devoted to fire god. He was always worshipping fire, and he was doing daily havan, sacrifice, etc. he was very devoted to fire. So after bath, getting ready, he started offering ahutis to Lord Fire. He worshipped Lord Fire, and then he thinks, by the way he thinks, I have got so old, I am unable to fight effectively against these terrific, strong enemies. So there is doubt in my victory. So what to do? So he thought of sacrificing his whole thing, that means life itself, to fire god. So he prayed with devotion to fire god, O Lord, I am worshipping now you with my head itself. Be pleased, and if you can, if you are pleased with my head, I shall offer my head. Please give me victory by some method. Some method means give me a new body and not one body. Let me have 4 bodies so that I can at a time I can defend my enemies, I can offend from 4 sides and I can get victory. So he did it. Of course, before that, he ordered his subordinates to go and fight against the enemies, and by the time he beheaded himself and offered the head to fire god, and then his body also put into the fireplace, and the fire god was so pleased. So from the fireplace, 4 beautiful, strong, and luminous bodies came out from the oven, from the fire, and they were equipped with all the ornaments and all the weapons, everything, and they were 4 same in everything with each other. One became 4, and then all of them, they got out of the palace, got out of the fort by all those 4 gates, and they started fighting terrifically against the enemies. The enemies could not, of course, in the beginning they were very strong, they were playing havoc, but when all these 4 great bodies started fighting, they were strengthened by the blessing of fire god, so they were quite capable, and they fought successfully against the enemies, and the enemies were defeated, and they started running back From some of those enemies were dead by the way, and somewhere hid themselves somewhere, and some enemies they got lost, somewhere drowned in the ocean, somewhere taken out by or eaten away by the demons and forest animals. And in this way, all those enemies, they ran back, being defeated by Vipaschit, and somewhere lost, somewhere uh, hidden, some of them, they ran away. They got into their own kingdoms. In this way, they were scattered away, and the story came up to this point. So, tomorrow we shall see further what happened to those four kings who were one only. One became four. We heard the story of the creation. One became five. First of all, the one became one, Hiranyagarbha, and Virat was one. Virat, the greatest one, with the ego. And then that ego became five, and they became three also, three qualities, and five elements. In this five uh, desires, in the form of five units of desires, Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, and they became five senses. In this way, slowly the whole world was created. Five mixed with the five indifferent ratios, and all these names and forms were created from one. And now that one Vipasit has become four for protecting itself from four sides. Tomorrow we shall see further what happened to those defeated enemies, and then what happened to our Vipasit, King Vipasit. The story was on the king. The king was there, his name was Vipasit, and he was attacked by his enemies. Enemies were strong first, and then in the end they were defeated by King Vipasit. This is the story. So how it can give the clues to Lord Rama? Give the answer to Lord Rama. Rama questioned what is the form, what is the nature, what is the way of this ignorance, how it is, where it is, why it is. Please explain me. But Vasistha is telling a story of a king. He was attacked by his enemies, and now he became four and he defeated his enemies. So from this what will you get? What about the Maya? We shall discuss tomorrow. How is Maya? How is that ignorance? Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamashishate Om Shanti 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 Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai Sabda Brahma ki jai Saraswati Maharani ki jai Yogavasirji Bhagavan ki jai Hari Om Pranam Jai Gurudev